Hello and welcome back, everyone, to this episode of Terminal Vocation. I'm your host, Deacon Mark.
And this is Erin.
And we're excited that you're back with us for this conversation. We're going to be talking about some social media trends. Just kind of a little fun episode, just a little bit of a hot take episode on some trends. As hot as it can be of trends that are sometimes 5 or 6 years old, but kind of some of these trends kind of just keep perpetuating themselves. So I think they're all, in various stages of currency. So, but some of them are kind of cute. Most of them are not.
Okay, I can't wait.
But, first tell me about your week.
So my week was our rising sixth grade orientation. So I was back in school. We had a group of sixth graders in the morning, a group in the afternoon, and they were learning the building. So it was really fun. I loved it the first day. The second day, I questioned all my career choices. And then the third day, it just kind of all evened out. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember the good parts. And there are some bad parts. So it was good.
By Wednesday, it was, this is a job. This is what I get paid to do.
And they're great.
Work is work.
Right. And it is all that. And sixth graders are wonderful and sometimes frustrating. And that's okay. You had a more interesting week, a more different week.
Better. I mean, I wasn't with sixth graders.
Well, and that was pretty fun.
I went down, so I had the other half of our summer vacation, 1-2 punch. You went with our daughter a couple weeks ago up to New York. And so our son and I went down to the Keys to do some scuba diving. So we kind of chose a little bit of a high adventure trip. So I got certified last year and wanted to go diving again. And he wanted to get certified.
And he did?
And he did.
Yes.
And we got to see some sharks and some barracudas. And
you did not.
You
did not see the barracuda.
The royal we saw barracudas. But something came up on the boat that I want to bring up as a sort of mini topic. So there was a couple that I think it was boyfriend and girlfriend. So the girlfriend, we'll call them Sid and Sue. So Sue was getting certified. Was in our son's class getting certified. Sid has been certified before and been diving several times. So the first open water dives on Saturday afternoon, Sue comes up after the first tank. So usually when you go out for your dive, you have 2 tanks. You go down for about 40 minutes, come up, switch tanks. So when we came up for the switch, she was deathly sick, seasick. Felt bad for her, and it's tough. It was definitely choppy. Usually once you're in the water, it helps because once you're underwater, you don't feel the waves, the up and down of the waves the same. But it was, got to her. So she didn't do the second tank. Mm-hmm. Sid did. So his girlfriend is sick on the boat. He's already certified, so he doesn't need this dive. Now, I'm saying all this, and I don't know their relationship. I don't know the conversation that happened between them.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of thing, we all make up stories in our head when we see situations. But this is just I thought this was kind of an interesting thing to talk about, because if you have been in this situation, or if you find yourself in this situation, it's something where guys or girls, but guys, you shouldn't be getting back in that water. You should be with her. So unless that conversation was like, no, I really want you to go. No, I don't want you to miss this. But
well, that was kind of when you initially told me the story. I was like, but you don't know if she said, we paid a lot of money for this trip. You get back in that water. I want you to have this time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from your imaginings, you did not think that was the case, but she might have been very selfless and said, go dive.
She might have been.
Yeah.
She might have been. I was kind of thinking of it on the operating from sunk costs, right? Mm-hmm. So they've spent the money whether he stays on the boat or not. Mm-hmm. At the very least, his instinct should be to stay with her. Mm-hmm. So yes, you're right. That they could have made that decision that, the money is spent and, get the dive in. But maybe I just didn't care for Sid. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for a reason to not like Sid. Maybe I'm just not a nice person.
Yeah, that could be.
But I just saw it and I just thought, this is interesting or a good lesson to remember that sometimes we can get caught up in the what we want to do, that we ignore the pain the other person is going through, or we justify, well, we spent money and so I should go do this anyway. Sure. And he's, certified. So it was a lot cheaper for him than it was for her because he's already certified and he had some equipment. And so there was a degree to which he was there diving with the students to be a companion to her.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even as good a dive with the students as it would have been if he was diving separately. So,
yeah.
All right. So,
I don't know.
You've convinced me. I'm just being overly critical. But it is something, I do think it's a good lesson to just make sure that your first move is also always to care for the person that you came with.
I think that happens a lot in parenting where you plan something great and then one kid gets sick. It's the equivalent of, okay, you can take the kids to Hershey, I'll stay home, or, whatever that looks like, or we're rescheduling the vacation.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, or, oh my gosh, how many times we were at an amusement park and we saw parents in line with kids and the kid starts to get scared of the ride.
Oh, right at the end.
And the parents are forcing them on that ride.
Yeah, I always felt bad.
And so, and I get it. You've waited in line for an hour to get on, Pirates of the Caribbean, but now it's dark and the kid doesn't want to see pirates.
Amen.
Then you follow that 4-year-old down the exit line.
Yeah, I think we've all... I had to bail on certain things. Oh, it's so hard. It is. It's very hard caring for the people in front of us, no matter what we want to do.
Well, one other little mini topic under our This Just In. So there was a news article I came across. Tom Holland, of course, is in the news because, he just married Zendaya. And now his new Spider-Man movie is coming out this weekend. Mm-hmm. So he was being interviewed and talked about... he's actually had 2 big movies this year because he's in the Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So he's been doing the press circuit for the Odyssey. Sure. And now he's got Spider-Man coming out. So he's doing the press circuit for that.
Okay.
And so as part of this press tour, he's talking about having to promote movies. We'll use air quotes. Poor guy has to go out
and promote his movies
about the movies he's just made. But he was sort of quoted as saying, well, this is easy because these are great movies. Early in my career, I made some movies that I thought were S double hockey stick, right?
S double hockey stick.
I was trying to think of what the equivalent that were not very good. And he said that was a lot harder to promote them, and so he doesn't think people should go see some of those old movies. Mm-hmm. And I just was thinking about, well, I think there's some things that I did when I was younger that people there's some essays I wrote in high school that people should not go back and reread, or there's some, love poems that I wrote for girlfriends or even you when we first started. I wouldn't go back and read those. So we all got that.
Sure.
To some degree.
There's a quote I read somewhere of an author talking about looking back at your first book once you've written your second, third, and fourth books. And it's sort of like seeing an ex-boyfriend in the grocery store. You're like, oh, hey, it's you again. And you try and get away as fast as possible.
What did I ever see in them?
Right. So I think a lot of people have that from the first thing you did in your career.
And I think part of what he was talking about, and this is where I think it kind of gets interesting in terms of a parenting analog, right? Is he wasn't saying it was necessarily his performance so much as he just thought they were bad movies.
Mm.
Right. And so I was kind of thinking, well, we all dealt with things when our kids were little, when we were new parents, where we're learning how to be parents.
Yeah.
And so we're having to go through situations that we would rather not go through in order to do that learning. And he had to make bad movies in order to prove himself and be able to make good movies, right? But we had to go through situations that nobody knew to prepare you for.
Sure.
Right? And we had to yell out sentences that we never thought would pass our lips. Stop rubbing your sister's blanket in your armpits. Those words were never supposed to go together in a sentence.
Right. I feel like that is so true with parenting, or even I can remember one of the first times going to a friend of yours from college, the parents had a Christmas party, and our kids, somebody just misbehaving because they were 2 or 3, and having to put them in a timeout and trying to parent in front of your friends and their parents. And it was just, I don't really remember what I did. I think I just blanked it out. But I'm sure it wasn't graceful, as you're trying to figure out how to do all that stuff and then let alone do it in front of people. It's hard.
So, look, you're going to have those situations, parents, as you're dealing with kids that nobody should have to act in, just like Tom Holland shouldn't have had to act in some of his movies. Nobody should have to deal with some of those situations, and they're unique and they're one-off. But you kind of just have to get through it in order to learn and gain the wisdom to deal with the stuff that matters later on, right?
Yes.
So like the little stuff that you wish you had handled better kind of prepares you to deal with the stuff when the kids are bigger and the stakes are higher.
Mm-hmm. The good news is you will handle it better.
You will. You will.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about some social media trends.
Okay.
I'm going to out myself here a little bit. I asked one of our kids, I was like, so yeah, we were thinking about talking about some old TikTok trends. Dad, nobody calls them TikTok trends. I was thinking it's kind of interesting, right? Because there's certain things that end up becoming a brand name, becomes the generic, like Kleenex for tissues and stuff like that. But none of the social media things ever kind of became permanent. It's just...
That was not a thing.
They're all a social media trend because I guess every social media platform just comes and goes and comes and goes so fast. So these are social media.
Okay.
So the first one, and this is one of the ones that I think kind of made me think of this topic, because I remember coming across this one day. I thought, oh, no, thank you. So this is the trend of kiss my crush to see if they feel the same way.
Oh, no.
And it was, it was a TikTok trend at the time. And one of the things about TikTok was there would be a song or a snippet of music that would get associated with this trend, right? So whenever you did this thing, you used this song to put underneath it, right? So they would put this song underneath them kissing their crush, right? Girl, because the guy kissing. This is my best friend, right? So they've got a opposite gender best friend forever and ever. And I'm looking, and they make compilation videos. Fortunately, you don't have to seek these out.
Yes.
One that has a dozen or 20 of them or something all in a row. And mercifully, most of the times the crush is sort of reciprocates, right? There's a friendship, but that's a little less awkward than the occasion where they, give them the Heisman and put their hand up in their face.
That just seems so awkward to me. That's just definitely not the way I would want to find that out, either by taking the risk to kiss the crush or by being on the receiving end. It just, this almost makes me sweat a little bit.
And, part
in
of
a bad way.
Part of the distaste of this is just, that's obviously not a good way to communicate with somebody that you like, first and foremost. That should be obvious. But then you're recording it.
Oh my goodness.
Everything is recorded. And I know I sound very old manish when I say this, but one of the things we're going to talk about as we go through these is there's a manipulation aspect when you're constantly trying to record all your interactions with your significant other, right? Then, I love you, but you're also good content.
Right. And then how is that, especially if you don't like the person, if you prefer not to be kissed by the person, are they getting your permission to play it? Are they playing it against your will? What does that look like?
Right. Or if you turn them away and then that gets posted, do you look like the jerk? But actually maybe you were being the sensible one, and maybe you're not even necessarily rejecting them, but you're just I don't want to do that this way.
Sort of like those snafus that happen with the kiss cams at baseball stadiums again.
Okay, those are awesome. Those are totally different.
I like the kiss cams in general. I just like everybody to be with the person they're married to, or the right person. Don't always have to be married, but it's just awkward when people get busted.
I love the one where the guy actually brought a sign because he went to a game with his sister. And he the kiss cam goes on them and he sees it and he goes into his lapel pocket and pulls out a little sign. my sister.
He was prepared.
He was prepared. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that.
So there's one compilation I saw, and this did kind of make me smile because it was a compilation of all these Kiss Your Crush videos. And in the middle, they show this one video that instead of kissing your crush, because they were also sometimes called a shoot your shot video, meaning, okay, you can take your chance, but instead of kissing his crush, he was sitting in the classroom and writes a little note, would you like to go out with me? Yes, no, and passes it to her.
Aww.
So kind of like, the old, check yes or no.
Yeah, who was that? George Strait. Yeah, George Strait song. Yeah, that's cute.
And she sent it back and checked yes.
That's cute.
And said, P.S. I like boba. So she
even told him what she'd like to do.
So that was sort of a...
I like that.
So if you watch it, we'll link to this compilation. So if you watch that, there's a little bit of a cleansing rinse there in the middle of something that seems a little bit less distasteful. All right, one more that I'll give it away. I don't like this one either.
Yeah.
So I'm calling this the rage bait dessert videos.
Yeah, I didn't like these.
So this is boyfriend's going with their girlfriend. They're out on a date, and they go to like an ice cream parlor for dessert after dinner. And he said, oh, you order. She orders ice cream cone, milkshake, whatever. And the person behind the counter says, what about you? Oh, I don't want anything. Mm-hmm. And almost inevitably, almost without fail, the girlfriend looks aghast that she's the only one
eating dessert,
gorging herself on dessert for the shame of having ice cream after dinner.
Right.
And so this is just I don't know how. The only thing you and I talked about this at one point, like, people have their phones out so often that I guess it's easy enough that she doesn't notice that you're filming something.
Right. Like, what is she? Yeah. Is it a hidden? Is he hiding the phone? Does she see and just think it's normal? Or does it just look like he's
texting and he's sort of holding it up?
Yeah, good question. My whole thing with this is, if this guy is not ordering dessert, there's just obviously something seriously wrong with him. So I would look for someone else. Leave the filming aside. Like, I just be like, okay, you're not getting it? I'll take his. I'd like a milkshake too, please. I love dessert.
But you wouldn't let me eat your fries earlier when I got a salad, so I ain't going to let you have a lick of my ice cream cone.
Yeah, it's funny to me. What is interesting to me is how upset some of the women look. Like, there's and I'm not saying they're wrong to be upset.
No.
There's one where one of the women says, you said you wanted to come here. So that's legitimately confusing, right?
Right.
If you tell me that you want to go to Dairy Queen, I would expect you to get something Dairy Queen. But there's a couple of women, and the expression on their face is just this anger and almost like this hurt on their faces. And it is a manipulation, so I understand that. And that's where I think, gosh, they must know they're being recorded. Because I just think otherwise, I probably would just be like, okay, stinks to be you, going on. But so the anger is interesting. But maybe they're feeling that manipulation, that they've been manipulated into some situation.
But in a public place, because not only are you recording this, but you're in front of the person behind the counter and whoever else is in line. So making someone the butt of a joke in a public place is always cruel. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to put it online, so I call that, what was it, like uber public? Like, there's an even exponential increase to that publicity. It's just cruel.
It does seem cruel. Now, just to play devil's advocate,
are we going to talk about the mailbox?
We're going to talk about the mailbox.
Yeah.
So to play devil's advocate, in our house we do kind of, like, one of the rules of our family is there's a certain level of practical joking that goes on. Usually at home. Mm-hmm. It's not ever recorded. I mean, it just hasn't, that's just not our MO, except...
I don't know about it. It's not ever recorded.
Except one instance.
Instances of it being recorded.
I came home this April Fool's Day, forgetting it was April Fool's Day. And foolishly, I opened the mailbox. And friends, inside the mailbox, there was a snake. But it was not a real snake. It was a rubber snake that Mark had ordered online. And not only, so that's kind of par for the course. And to my credit, I think in the moment, I pulled my hand back and then I realized it was a rubber snake and I shut the mailbox. And then I came inside and Mark had recorded me from the upstairs window as soon as I got home. So there's footage of this. And so...
I did not post it.
You did not post it.
I did not post it. It was to show the kids.
But when you brought up this topic and we're talking about, especially this rage-baiting dessert thing, I was like, so where do we put the snake in the mailbox recording video? So you're saying that you're better just because you haven't posted it.
Well, and it was April Fool's Day.
It was April Fool's Day. And I will say, we do this in our family.
We do this.
We do this.
Yeah.
We don't usually record.
We don't usually. That was maybe over the line.
I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't. I did post it. I did not post it. It was kind of funny to see the reaction.
It was kind of funny to see the reaction. It didn't. It annoyed me. But I also know the rules of the house about April Fools. And then when you showed me you recorded, I was like, what are you going to do with that? You're like, I was just going to show the kids. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. So it didn't bother me. But I was like, oh, this is getting into some maybe hypocritical territory.
But, part of recording that was I was thinking about having seen some of these because there are some couples that do this and they're constantly recording themselves trying to get each other.
Yes.
Now, in most of those instances, they're both in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this one couple I'm thinking of, like, they have, you would love this. They're like balloons filled with, like, white paint.
Nope.
And I assume it's something that's easy to clean up or something like that. And so you walk through a doorway, and they have something that's going to cut the line of the balloon that falls like a water balloon. And so you're getting messy.
Oh, I don't like it.
You're getting surprised. All those sorts of things. But it's clear that they're both in on it to make content. So
sure.
But I was thinking of that because there's other things that I've seen both husbands and wives do where they're like making wife jokes or husband jokes with the other one in the background.
Sure.
Just like,
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So I will not post the snake video as part of
As part of this. This will not be linked in the comments.
But I think the other interesting thing about this, and this is how I know you weren't really that mad, is because I still have the snake. You didn't take the snake away.
And that, my friends, was a foolish mistake on my part. I should have known better living in this house.
The snake is still somewhere in the house.
Yeah, it'll resurface.
All right, this last one I think is, again, like a little bit of a palate cleanser because this is kind of a cute trend. So this is he won't let me open my door. And so some people are posting things where their, boyfriend, husband, significant other, is chivalrous.
Yeah.
And so they've obviously had some habit, or courtesy of not wanting her to open the door. And like anything else, chivalry can get carried too far.
Sure.
And so they're kind of trying to make a point. So in these videos, the girl will start to open the door, and the guy will go, no, and,
yeah.
And one of them, I think, she's already gotten into the car, and he opens the door, pulls her out of the car, stands her next to it, shuts the door, opens it again, and it's, again, not being filmed secretly. It's all for the gag.
Right.
But I think that embracing of chivalry is a good thing. Mm-hmm. I like that, and I think I've seen people talking about this lately with respect to chivalry, and I think there was a period when, and I think it still exists in certain circles, where some women are like, I don't need you to open my door for me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, if I think that, as a man, if I think you need me to, then that is a problem. Mm-hmm. But I'm not opening the door for you because I think you need me to. I don't think you're delicate or fragile. I'm honoring you. I'm revering you, and I think of it even from Genesis and Adam, right? Like a suitable helpmate. When Eve was created, and Adam says, finally, this one is flesh of my flesh and bone of my bones. There's an amazing reaction that he has to finally finding the love of his life. And he wants to elevate her in his speech, but take care of her and protect her. And I think that's kind of where chivalry is born.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think those are cute.
Yeah.
Also, social media to me is a little bit like, hey, look at me. I mean, that's the point of social media. So it's not always my favorite. But I think, gosh, some positive content is really nice. It's
refreshing.
Yeah, it's really nice to see people being nice to each other. And legitimately, like when the one I'm thinking of that you just mentioned where he lifts her out of the car, she's just laughing and they're giggling and stuff like that. And it's cute. It's just... it's happy, and that's really good. And
it goes back to that idea of having fun together.
Yes.
And I think one of the things we said, just to be a little meta about it, but when we started making this podcast, we said, well, if nothing else, we're sitting down and having a fun conversation once a week and talking about it, and then we got to edit and post it and do other work. But it's about having something that we're doing together, right? We're enjoying it. And is there some publicity or posting? Yeah. But we're enjoying the process.
Sure.
And if they as a couple are enjoying the process of recording it and posting it and say, oh, someone commented that, it's a good thing that they have together.
Sure. And then if we decide to pivot from the podcast, we can always set up the balloons filled with paint and film that stuff for content.
We're open to that. Okay, now I know. Forget about the snake.
Nope.
Watch your head.
Oh my gosh, how messy. I can't take it.
Well, listen, if you have ideas for other topics or other trends maybe that you think that we've forgotten, send them our way to terminalvocation@gmail.com. You've been listening to Terminal Vocation, a VoFam production. I'm Deacon Mark, along with my wife and co-host Erin. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week.
Bye-bye.